What's up, everybody? I'm back. Another episode of the Try Life On podcast. I was recently featured on the best ever CRE show with Matt Faircloth, and CRE is commercial real estate show. But don't go there. This is not about real estate, okay? This is about trying life on. That show is widely regarded as one of the premier commercial real estate podcasts across the world. Depending on what ranking system you look at, the numbers will vary. But for example, on Listen Notes, it carries a listen score of 58 and sits in the top 0.5% of podcasts globally. It's a legit platform, and I'm super grateful they gave me the space. Now, here's why I'm grateful and why you guys would even care from a Try Life On perspective, because the episode was different. We didn't turn to how to scale to 10,000 apartments or watch me flex my investment portfolio or real estate portfolio, that type of stuff, which is why I typically don't go on real estate shows anymore because real estate is not my identity. I don't actually care about all that stuff as a life objective as much as I care about what real estate can do for you and what it did for my life. As I say all the time, real estate is just a tool. It's a powerful one, but it's still just a tool to create the style of life that is what you want. The real target for me and for many is time. The real target for me and many has been freedom and peace and the inner work required to stop chasing somebody else's definition of success. When I did the whole real estate journey, it was just because I had a sense that real estate in and of itself and collecting assets and generating passive income would allow me to, at some point, escape career highway, go on to lifestyle lane, and live my way. It truly does. I mean, I'm very grateful for real estate as a tool because it gave me the ability to live like a human being again in my own way and have time and mental freedom and not be a machine chasing the next deal or in corporate chasing the next title or whatever, chasing the next identity badge, right? Or next title at work. So Matt and I ended up going there. We talked about why most people are building the wrong thing for real, how social media is turning business itself into a scoreboard, and why more, the concept of more, is not automatically better at all. And I hope you key in on that in the conversation. Actually, this convo is kind of proof that there's a lot of people who aren't chasing money at all. And I was never chasing money at all. It was a byproduct, even when it looks like they are. Most people are chasing relief. Most people are chasing space, they're chasing choice, and they're chasing a life that actually feels like something. And Matt and I really connected on that type of thought process. And here's a key. Now, I say real estate, but you can really transpose this episode onto anything, whether it's real estate or starting a business, being an artist, leaving corporate to become a firefighter, moving to a new country, moving to a new city, starting a family later in life. Whatever the vehicle is, the question stays the same. Is what you're building giving you your life back? Or is it just another cage with better branding? I want to say that again. Is what you're building giving you your life back? Or are you just building another cage that has some different kind of branding? So as you listen, don't just listen for tactics. Listen for the deeper why behind the whole game. I learned it over years and decades. I'm trying to give people the game in short periods of time because business should power life, and life is not supposed to be just business, or at least for a preponderance of the people who are existing on this beautiful planet. So let's get into it. So here's what to listen up for. Why success without freedom is just another trap. It absolutely is. The real reason I got into real estate, which was freedom first, and it had nothing to do with trying to get rich at all. The difference between building assets and building a life. Okay. How time itself is the real currency underneath every strategy. Why chasing units, and by units, I mean apartments or real estate itself, but why chasing units, titles, online status, and social media creates a life that you secretly resent. There's a hidden role of ego in business decisions, and it can quietly cost people years and years of time. And why doubling your net worth won't necessarily make you doubly happy. Okay. a few more things. How to use your W-2 or any job as a weapon. So converting active income into a choice. There's a Try Life on principle I go into, which is stop worrying about the what and try and find a who. And the question that frames the whole episode is, what is this all for? And that's why I respected this episode. That's why I'm republishing it. And that's why I give credit to Matt Faircloth, who I'm going to have on my podcast as well, for engaging in the type of real conversation that I know would help you. So, as you roll into your Try Life On journey, or continue your Try Life On journey, I should say, here's a behind the scenes look with two very versed entrepreneurs who've built their own level of freedom, but trying to articulate to you that don't buy into all the nonsense. There's a reason for this stuff, and it should be to power your life. It shouldn't take over your life. Okay? All right. Hope you enjoy the episode. And again, if you want to chat, if you want to reach out to me at maurice@trylifeon.com. Always check the newsletters at trylifeon.com and go to the newsletter section. I'm talking about these concepts quite a bit. And if you are interested in joining the Try Life On Global WhatsApp community, send me a message. We'll have a conversation and see if it makes sense for you and makes sense for the community. But for now, enjoy this conversation with myself and my new friend, Matt Faircloth. Enjoy.
What is happening, best ever listeners? This is Matt Faircloth, and welcome to the Best Ever CRE Show. I am your host, Matt, and this is my segment called Next Level CRE, and I got a next level episode for you today. So let's unpack that in just a second. Before I get there, I want to just remind you guys of Best Ever Con, BECX, coming up in Salt Lake City in February of 2026. I want you guys to be there. Stop what you're doing and be there, because I'm going to be there, and all the other best ever hosts are going to be there too, as will a lot of other LPs, passive investors, general partners, people looking to put deals together, people looking for inspiration, connections, networks, ideas on how they can continue to carry their businesses forward and live their best life through their businesses, right? Because that's what this is all about, right? And so join me at Best Ever Con, BECX, by going to besteverconference.com, besteverconference.com, and use the coupon code PODCAST, PODCAST, podcast 10 for 10% off. That's right. Lots of money coming at you guys. Who knew you guys were going to get some money today? Podcast 10 for your coupon code to get 10% off of a ticket for Best Ever Con. I will see you guys there in February of 2026. Best ever listeners, today's episode is incredible. Maurice Philogene has done a lot of great things in his life, manifested a lot of success, and we get into a lot of cool stuff about mindset. And there's a cool arc here I want you guys to listen for about the mindset that it takes to create success and why we're creating success. So listen for that, because we don't really talk as much. It just gets alluded to a lot in this episode. I want you guys to listen for that. And also listen for the why. And maybe as you're listening to this episode, ask yourself why. Maybe get reminded by this episode as to why you're doing all this. So you can have money in the bank, so you can drive a nice car, so you can travel, whatever it is. But continue to dig a little bit deeper and ask yourself why you want those things, right? Because it really is all about living our best life and what that means to you, to me, and maybe what it means to me doesn't mean the same thing that it means to you. So let's hop in with Maurice Philogene, who's really going to talk us about his incredible success track record and also about the why that he's doing all these things. Best ever listeners, I want you guys to welcome Maurice Philogene to the studio today. Maurice, I've read up on his website, has done some really interesting stuff that I'm excited to hear more about. Let's talk about former law enforcement. I don't know, Maurice, why I know so many law enforcement officers that are now real estate investors, but let's get into that. And Maurice is also doing deals across the Mediterranean and in the United States, controlling around 2,000 units in the U.S. and also some development projects all over. I'm excited to dig into all those things. Maurice, welcome to the Best Ever Series show today.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Matt.
So tell me, Matt, why, former cop, police officer of law enforcement, right? Sure. transition over to real estate. How did you make that transition? And why do you think there's so many cops, former recovering cops in the, in the real estate space?
Well,
Like David Green's a friend of mine. He's and I know a lot of either cops or firefighters that are
yeah.
now real estate investors.
Because it's a good side thing to do in any
Mm.
career. And if you happen to interact with someone, whether it's a book, podcast, something that makes you realize that you can take that active income and invest it so you can turn it into passive income later and put some assets on the chessboard, it's good. So I don't think it's just about cops and firefighters per se. But in my journey, it wasn't that I became a street cop and then came to real estate. It's actually totally reverse.
Mm.
I graduated from university. I went on a trip overseas a long time ago when I was 15. I felt what life should really feel like, emotions. No, it was a 30-day trip to France. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. And then when I was 21, I ran into a book, Personal Finance for Dummies. It had a phrase in there, passive income. Then I
Yep.
put two and two together. If I can create passive income, that's revenue coming in without the need for me to physically be somewhere. So my mind was like, if I can create revenue streams, I can go back to having the kinds of experiences I had on that trip that my dad sent me on when I was 15 years old from inner city Boston to France for 30 days.
Hmm.
And that's how my real estate journey started. It was not, I want to be rich. It was, I want to be free.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
So I started saving a down payment at 21. Took me 5 years to make enough. And then I bought my first place at 26.
You said that you felt what life should feel like
Yeah.
at 15. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
What did it feel like? What was that aha? Like, oh, I get it. It should feel like this.
Yeah.
What was that feeling?
It's emotions. Our job in life is to be happy. That's our only job. Everybody's confusing life with distinctions and money and titles. It's nonsense. When you have visceral emotion because of a person, place, thing, experience that you have, that's living.
Hmm.
It's why I've been to over 100 countries, 400 times, and military or otherwise, but mostly personal.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, I've seen quote unquote monetarily poor people or people who don't have the means that you and I have, but they're so happy because they found their way to generate the types of emotions that they want to have on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And what that did for me at 15 was realize I wasn't chasing titles. I wasn't chasing money. I wasn't chasing society's definition of success. I was chasing what that little boy figured out, which was some kind of enlightenment for him when I look back on it. Nah, man, there's more to this life game than you running around the inner city streets of Boston. You got to figure this out. And real estate ended up being a tool for it.
Yeah. I mean, I just to say, I've traveled a bit, certainly not 100 countries and, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But my wife and I we did the El Camino, in Spain, and I met some of the happiest people I have ever met.
Yeah.
Not walking the Camino. The people walking the Camino that I met were looking for something, right? Including my wife and I. The people that I met that were happy were those that like the guy running a roadside stand selling wine and like baguettes and a Spanish omelet, right?
Yeah,
that guy was the happiest man I'd met because he had purpose, which was just to greet people and smile at them and feel life. And you know what else, Maurice? He had enough that he needed for that day. And
it's not our fault, Matt. It's not me and you's fault. It's no one's fault listening to your awesome show. We were trained in formal education that the way you get to happiness is go getting stuff, climbing ladders, getting titles, doing A, B, and C. You'll never reach happiness by trying to attain things. You got to reach happiness internal, and then it will express on your external at some point. There's nothing wrong with all we do. I've had all these careers that you know about and stuff like that, but that's not where my happiness came. My happiness came from making a conscious choice to have all those experiences and then recognizing that my job was to go take that active income that I was getting from all those careers, store it, go buy assets, put them on my chessboard, create passive income streams, which I now live on at 50. I could have started at 38 is when I was technically free. That's how it should be, but nobody's teaching us that, especially in formal schooling.
It seems like that there's a theme you've talked about here already.
Yeah.
I hear the underlying theme. You haven't even said the word yet, but I hear the word time,
Yeah.
in talking about, law enforcement. And, cause I had a light bulb when you just said that, because
Hmm.
man, I've met a lot of firefighters and a lot of cops and a lot of people that work non-traditional 9 to 5 jobs, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
They could be an EMT, whatever it is. They could be anything. They could be a school teacher working, 8 months out of the year and then off 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you choose to just go on vacation for the time that you're not there, I get it. If you choose to build something else for passive income so you can make money where you're not injecting time, because
Yeah.
that's what passive income is.
Yeah.
It's making money without having to trade hours for that money. Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'm hearing that the word time is a theme in what you're
Yeah.
saying. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So in my coaching and in my own journey, and there was my entrepreneurial journey, the core one was 17 years. And what I figured out during that journey, and it was not easy, passive income is not easy. It takes a long time to set up your systems. It takes a long time of trial and error. But once you can get everything set up, then you are benefiting and your family's benefiting on the backside. To be clear, so I was a corporate exec for 25 years and chose to be a police officer and a midnight police officer at the same time. This goes back to the happiness thing. I was driving by somebody's house way back in '04, '05. Yeah, I did a search warrant when I was a federal agent in the military, and I would always see these guys who would have take-home cars in their driveway, take-home police cars. And I'm like, man,
like a branded with lights on it.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I was like, I want to do that before I die. I want to be, I think that's going to make me happy. So I chose to be corporate during the day and police officer at night for 15 years. Long story how it happened. But again, it's like, okay, was he chasing money? No, I wanted the experience. But the beautiful thing is I took the money from corporate life, the money from real estate, or excuse me, from police life, the money from military life. I stored a significant portion of it. And every time I had enough down payment or even straight out cash to go buy an asset, I bought it because self-education taught me that the system was going to spit me out at some point. I knew it. I knew it from reading books.
Sure.
I knew it from reading books. And I was determined to get my time freedom, as you said, time freedom, financial freedom, geographic freedom, freedom to execute your purpose, which is why I became a police officer. Who does that when they're a corporate executive at the same time?
Nobody I've ever heard of.
Yeah, well, I did it, and freedom to build meaningful relationships with people like Matt who can teach me something. if I'm sitting in corporate life, which I don't have a problem with, but if I'm sitting in corporate life and my only friends are from corporate life, I go to dinner with corporate life people, I go to happy hour with corporate life people, then your life is limited to the information inside those four walls. You have to branch out. You have to read books. And not a post. A post is an idea. You have to get into the things that will give you the kind of life that you want. And but finally, to your point, yeah, man, everything was about time. I totally control my time. Nobody except my father and my God can tell me what to do. And it will never happen.
Yeah, you put a lot of time in. You kind of you double dipped on time, and a lot of times that people were, Netflix and chilling, so to speak, or just putting in their 8 to 10 hours to get just enough to be comfortable. Just, and that's what corporate will do. They'll pay you just enough to not quit, right?
Just enough to not quit. Yeah, and people have to learn to flip it. So when I've kind of stopped my coaching for now, but when I coach, I show people you got to set yourself up so you spit out corporate, government, nonprofit, whatever, you spit them out at the end. Now it's a mutual agreement. You give them time, they give you money. But you got to take that money and do something with that money. So when later they don't want to give you money, it doesn't matter. So when people ask me about my corporate journey of 25 years, did I hate it? No. Pay, skills, a fat 401k, stock options. And the best part was I met all these people around the world, all my clients and stuff, and they're still friends of mine to this day. I'm rich from that experience.
Yeah.
It's just that when they said, we think it's time for you to go because you don't want to be a partner, they were confused why I wouldn't take a promotion. Time is why I didn't take it.
Right.
I was ready to spit them out. And I left the corporate highway and just rolled on to lifestyle lane. So you got to be aware of it.
Yeah. There's that whole concept of golden handcuffs, of paying people too much, so much money where they can't leave the job. And then at some point when they can't they don't want to do the company song anymore or whatever, they spit them out, whatever it may be. And just best of listeners understand really what Maurice and I are talking about is about just owning your own journey, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with working corporate. I worked
No,
corporate.
that's how you leverage it.
Yeah, you did too. But just understand, you learn to leverage it for your own benefit. So you've read a book, Real Estate, Investing for Dummies, that kind of thing. There's so many those for dummy books. Changed a lot of people's lives for all the things, right?
That series is great.
You read Real Estate Investing for Dummies was one of the first educational books that you got yourself into because you saw the connection of passive income to time. It helped me unpack that and what some of the deals that you did look like from there.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. So it's personal finance for dummies, but because at 21, I was starting to get into the credit card, like college student, they give you all kinds of credit card. I didn't want to mess up. So I read that book, then found passive income. Then I started reading a real estate book. And this is exactly what happened. I went to the library. Nobody goes to the library no more. I still go to the library to this day. But I went to the library when I found the whole passive income phrase. Fairfax County, Virginia Library in Kingstown, Alexandria, Virginia. Aisle 6 was a business aisle. And I found a book on condos in that aisle. And I just read it. And I read it, and I read it, and I read it. And I'm like, what? So you're telling me that I could buy a place for I could take 20 grand and buy a place for 100 grand. Yes. Okay. When I did my first deal at 26, it was a place that I lived in. Okay. I bought it for 135. Now I had a little bit of luck, but luck is just timing and preparation. It was at the beginning of the boom cycle of the 2000s. So in 2002, I bought a condo for 135. 3 months later, that 135 condo was worth 165 because the one next door sold. So I called my father, immigrant dad, 30-year educator in the Boston public school system. I said, Dad, this thing says it's worth 165. What does that mean? He said, you made 30,000. I said, what? So I went back to the library and picked up a book on equity and I read it. What do you think happened by the end of the year once I figured all that out?
Yeah, you're probably looking to refi. You're either buying more condos, refining the one you had, or HELOC or whatever. You're tapping that equity, and you drank the Kool-Aid by then.
I drank the Kool-Aid. But fortunately for me, and this is not available for a lot of your listeners and stuff, but back then there were no doc loans, no down payment loans. So I took a lot of risks.
Weapons of mass destruction.
I mean, it was brutal. Don't get me wrong. I had tough times, but
I had a lot of that shit too. I did neg am one time. Did you ever any of those?
Yes,
I did.
I did.
Back to real listeners.
That shit hurt.
Be grateful. Be grateful that those things don't exist anymore. That's what that
means. We don't need those. We don't.
Yeah, like your total interest could be $1,000 a month, but how about this? How about you just pay me $600 a month, Mr. Borrower, and I'll take $400 a month and put it onto the back end. I'll put it on the back of the loan forever because real estate goes up all the time, doesn't it, Maurice?
Yeah.
Right? It always goes up. Yeah. So I had some of those. I had a neg am with a second mortgage on it. Right. The neg am first and a interest only second. I walked into closing on a 4-family with 3% down. It just should not have happened, but it
should not happen. But sometimes, man, especially when you're starting. So that was 2002. Between 2002 and 2014, I bought 35 condos.
Good way to get a nice little equity pop.
I did. Great. So here's the difference between my approach and most people's approach. I bought them, but let's say 5. I bought 5. I would take 2 that appreciated, sell them, and then take the money and then go pay down the other 3. And then I would take my paycheck systematically from corporate, police, military, and pay that down. So by the time I bought 35 in 2014, I ended up with 18 paid off condos.
Where did you get that? Because so many people that I know that too. I'm not naming anybody individually, got their ass kicked back then because they went over leverage. Instead of 35 condos, so they had extra money coming in. They'd owned 140 condos, right?
I still got my ass kicked because '08 was in there. And I over leveraged. And then I had a 70, she's passed now and I cannot find her and I cannot remember her name, but I pray for her and I have ultimate gratitude for this woman who did something for me. She was a real estate agent. I ran into her just happenstance. She told me, hey, Maurice, this $100,000 condo I just helped you get 12. Get a dozen little ones, pay them off, make a pension for yourself. Because I asked her, I said, listen, take me to DC, because we were in Northern Virginia. I said, take me to DC and let's get a 500,000. Like, I think I can do it. And she's the one who pulled me back and was like, don't do that. And now I did it. I bought like a penthouse condo in the middle of the city, not because it was the right financial thing or because of my financial freedom journey, but because my ego got in the way. I wanted to own the penthouse in the middle of the city, and that was late 06. And you know what happened after that.
Bad timing, man. Were you trying to live in the penthouse, or did you want to rent it out?
I lived in it for a little while to get the best note I could get on it, and then I moved out.
Yeah, and I got it just for a little bit, right? I get it. Yeah,
It killed me. It killed me, but it was one of the best lessons I learned, because I realized that ego plays such a role in our business decisions if you allow it to. I got my butt kicked, but recovered from it.
You got to check that ego, man. I've been doing this 20 years. You've been at 25. I mean, it's still, the ego still creeps up, it doesn't go away, Best ever listeners, we're going to take a quick word from our sponsors, quick commercial break. And when we get back, Maurice and I are going to get into how he scaled and got into all kinds of other ventures, including doing business overseas. Let's hop into that in just a minute. But now a word from our sponsors. Hey guys, we're back. So now, Maurice, I'm going to hop in and change gears a little bit. You got these condos, 2008 happened, pulled the rug out probably on some of those condos that you had, but you were wise enough, because that little angel showed up on your shoulder and told you about getting yourself some free and clear units. Best ever listeners, that is lesson number 1 here in today's podcast is, if you can, pay some things off, pay some things down, create a regiment towards paying things off. If you do, guess what? The debt, the lender, the man, so to speak, is never going to come take that property from you ever, no matter what happens in the market. If you've got low leverage on a property, it gives you a lot more freedom. And that's what this is all about. But Maurice, then 2008 passed, you scaled, you got into, and tell me what your scaling plan and initiatives looked like from 35 units all around DC to next level up from there.
Well, hopefully this goes back to my mindset, and I hope that I educate people who are getting into the space. My leverage was not, my up leveling was not money related, or I want to do bigger deals related. It was, I had been pressing repeat on that condo method since 02, well, technically 06, and it was now 2014-15. I deployed with the military, came back 2 years later, and I found myself very stagnant. I wasn't learning. I wasn't growing business-wise. I went to a seminar, one of those 7-minute introductory, and then I walked out and I was like, I'm going to do this syndication thing. Now, the interesting thing is, before syndication happened for me, I tend to be the guy who will just do and course correct along the way. I found my neighbor was a really good guy, and I talked with him, and we ended up doing 2 mobile home park deals, 2 small multifamily, like a 12 unit and something else that I can't remember, and a couple condo deals. And after that, then I was at a business conference in 2018, met my now business partners, started the private equity firm, and we just started acquiring. And again, timing is something, because between 20 and 21, early 20 and late 21, when the market conditions were very favorable, we syndicated 25 apartment complexes in a 2-year period. It was insane. And it was all for the right reason. So I just want to go back and tell people, it's not, my definition of success was never like, I need to own the world. That's not what it was. I legit was like, I'm not learning anything, doing what I've always been doing. I need to challenge myself. And my thought was, look, if I got financial freedom doing this condo thing, I can help other people get their financial freedom doing syndication and bringing them along. And that's how it all started. It was never, I don't care about other people's versions of success. That's why I turned down partner promotion in corporate. And Matt, we have it too, right? In our space, you know, the real estate investors, like, I got 10,000 units, I got 20,000 units. So then you have the small guy or girl who starts chasing that.
They have no idea. They have no idea what that even means.
No,
right?
They're chasing somebody else's version of success. I was very good at always having my own version, but that's how the scaling happened. It wasn't
Yeah.
First real estate life, condo, second real estate life, multifamily, third real estate life, overseas, internationally. And that's not for money either. So
No.
there
We'll get to that in
was
a second,
reason
though.
behind it.
When you got into the syndication game,
Yeah.
that was what year again, by the way, to start raising capital and putting together larger
17,
deals?
18.
So, yeah, good time. That was that was when the waves were low. You know,
really good. Then, yeah.
That was good timing. That's about when I got into it as well. I did my first like syndication in 13 in Trenton, New Jersey, of all things. But I raised $50K from a guy that my wife went to college with in 2013. You know, and then it scaled up from there. And then before you knew it, in like 15, 16, about the same time you did, we were raising larger capital as well. How did you? What was your capital raising strategy in 16? And I get some of these things don't play. Like I feel like back then, it was like fishing in like a fish tank full of fish that it was really small. You just throw a hook in the water and you could just, but what was your capital raising strategy then for getting investors into deals and everything like that? How'd you do it?
Exactly the guy you see in front of you right now.
Mm-hmm.
The same dude who's always talking to people about how is this going to impact your life, not how many units do you want. How are we going to get you to financial freedom? How are we going to get cash flow? How Maurice, how did you do the 3 jobs? Because people can see he's a street cop. I can see myself in him. He works for the U.S. federal government. I can see myself in him. He's a corporate guy. I can see myself in him. He grew up in the inner city. I can see myself in him. It was just real talk with real people. What I can't fucking stand in so many ways is the nonsensical, everything is perfect with real estate investing. Invest with me. You'll make hundreds of thousands or
No, here we go.
People are people. And do you know what I would always tell my partners? And
I'll just call him fucking Ferrari guy. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Fucking Ferrari guy. Okay. But we're not going to say names or whatever, but it's that vibe of, hey, look at me, look what I got. Look at the life I'm leading. There's so much bullshit out there on social media about like, hey, look at me on the beach. Look at me doing this. Look at me do that. And I put posts out about, enjoying my life and having vacations. But understand, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and, things that went in to create that. That's certainly not what the life of a real estate investor only. I mean, you do need to put in. Anyway, tangential. But you were real. You were Maurice and not like, hey,
this is same. You could probably feel it. Like, I don't really change much.
Yeah. So how did you, the deal finding, right? So were you the capital magnet of the ventures at that time? Okay. Yeah. Who was like, what did it look like? How did you select the right partners, the right teams? Cause I've seen people like, I'm going to go raise a bunch of money and they hitch their wagon to the wrong horse, if you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like the wrong deals, the wrong management teams, the wrong whatever. You didn't do that. Apparently you've manifested some incredible success.
Yes.
How did you choose the right implementation partners for those things?
You follow your inner voice. You follow your gut instinct. You follow that God voice that's been in you the whole time. It's just so scattered. You can't fucking hear it because there's so much social media and shit like that out there. When my partners approached me in 2019 to sponsor a deal, because I had a bunch of net worth from like restaurants and my single family and all that type of stuff. So they approached me to sponsor a deal and I said no. I was like, hell no, because I had done so much on my own or with 1 or 2 partners. I was very careful of not hitching my wagon to people, which would make my life complex. Wasn't interested. But they did eventually convince me, and I'm very happy with them and the journey that we've been on for 6-7 years, although I'm deleveraging a bit now. And you just have to follow that. So now during the forming of our team, we decided to get a business coach because you got to think, I have 4 core partners in private equity. All 5 of us together have 98, 99 years of professional experience in different fields. We're not stupid people, but we had to understand how to interact with each other and what our lanes and what our categories for improvement were. So we hired a business coach. Best thing we could have ever did. And during conversation,
was it one of the big ones like strategic coach, or was it like a smaller
previously tied to the Tony Robbins space?
Yeah.
In business strategy kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's all mindset stuff. It's not,
Tony's captain mindset. Yeah, I've
amazing.
not done UPW. Have you done UPW yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're one of those guys who's done it multiple times, haven't you?
No, I went there
No.
once or twice. Now I like to do my own
Yeah.
studying and have my own journey, but I did benefit from it.
I
in a
get
big
it.
way.
I haven't done it yet. I
But
probably know more than I should about Unleash the Power Within. That you know, because I know some shit that goes down. Like, man, that sounds so corny.
It's a lot of telling too, and I don't like that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know. And you gotta see. I've just been around that so long in my industry, as you have too, with all this run to the back of the room stuff and everything like that. And I'm like, I don't know. But hey, Tony's a man. He's changed a lot of people's lives and everything like that. So
he is. And in answer to your question, so with that coach, you know that I was the hustler in my own previous business, and I did not want to be the hustler anymore. And I was also a lieutenant colonel and high up in corporate. I'm like, man, I'm so tired of being a leader.
You were still corporate with all this going on?
Yeah.
Good God, man.
I didn't retire from corporate till 21.
When did you sleep, man? You had all this shit going on. You're buying apartment buildings left and right, and you got corporate. Were you still a cop too? No way.
Yeah. I retired from military in 19, cop in 21, corporate in 20.
Oh my goodness.
This is 2018.
How did you, pause there. Cause the best ever listener now that's trying, there's a best ever listener listening today. Yeah. Maybe he's not holding down 3 ventures, whatever, but give a little bit of guidance to the best ever listener now that's got a full-time day job, maybe he's manifested some success and has got some success happening. They're contemplating, well, should I quit? Maybe I should just keep grinding or whatever. How did you balance it all back then? Maybe this guy or gal listening has a family too, and that's a whole puzzle piece that's a big one,
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had a family at the time or whatever.
2 boys. Yeah.
There you go. So give some words of wisdom to the best ever listener that's trying to grow and scale while holding down corporate. Maybe without the easy answer is to quit, right? They're not allowed to quit. You can't let them quit, but they got to keep grinding it out. What's your advice?
I'll give two pieces of advice. One, I'll give an overarching theme and then 2 pieces of advice. The overarching theme is, it's not that you lack time, it's that you lack commitment.
Oh.
So I don't want to hear that I don't have time, or because I ran 4 careers and was a dad to 2 kids and was serving and all that type of stuff. And the reason I say that is because, so my prime time was always 4 a.m. to 8 a.m., but anybody else's hours can be whatever, a little bit before work, a little bit at lunch, a little bit after work. It doesn't have to be the way that I did it. But 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month, 960 hours a year. That's 5.14 weeks or 5.7 weeks that you've created if you stick to it. Now, if you add a 4-hour block on a Saturday and Sunday, you've created 2 full months. So what you've effectively done, you've created a 14-month year. Now, multiply that by 15, since you know my journey, 17. I could never be caught.
Yeah.
So that time, other motherfuckers are going like, let me go to the happy hour to kiss the partner's ass to get my promotion for $3,000. I didn't do that. As soon as 4:15 came, I was on a train, hustling back, reading a real estate book on a train. Then I would go home, do homework with my son, give him dinner, go to bed, wake up at 8 o'clock, put on my uniform and go patrol. Then I would patrol, and in between calls, I'd be doing real estate stuff. So when people are like, I don't have time, I was like, no, you do. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, people have to understand, and this goes down to lifestyle design, that life is something you practice. It's not a destination. It's a rhythm. And I'm going to explain. I was corporate during the day, police at night, military sometimes, real estate all the times. But I made sure that I was in a district where I was patrolling, where the courthouse was by the metro, so I could patrol the night before, come home, sleep for 2 hours, get up, go to court, check in, walk out, get on the train, go downtown to my corporate office, do whatever I had to do, sleep in my boy's car at 12 noon, press repeat, go again. I would use my vacation strategically to catch up on sleep. So when people are like, how did you do it all? You have to practice the rhythm of what it is that you want and stop bullshitting to yourself that I don't have time. Well, and as you said, they're fucking around, binge watching Netflix, going to the happy hours, having 18 beers, not getting up in the morning, and then being like, I have no time.
That's a fact. Seriously, the 18 beers, best ever listeners, I mean, and you got to just watch that. I'm not saying that you can't drink alcohol or can't go have fun with friends if you want to be successful in business, but maybe you don't need to
You don't
go
need to
start
do that
happy
all.
hour at
Don't
5.
get me wrong. I partied. I had a life,
Well,
but
yeah,
I was
life. You can't be a robot,
no,
but to your
bro.
point, you can't start happy hour at 5, concluded at 2 a.m, sleep until 11 a.m. because
Yeah, and then say, hey, I don't have time to hustle on the outside.
that's 2 shifts right there.
They're
that you
all
could blow out,
spending time building somebody else's dream. That is what you are as an employee. You are building somebody else's dream. Now, there's nothing wrong with it, especially if that employment, police officer, is your passion.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, recognize that those 2 paychecks coming in are the best thing that could ever happen to you. Store them. Self-education, private education, get a partner, go see something, go to a seminar, read a book, buy a piece of real estate, buy some stock. No. Yeah. And I don't blame people because school don't teach us that. We have to teach ourselves.
Damn, that hits hard, man. That hits hard. About the idea of building someone else's dream when you've got a job, but maybe own that. Maybe really absorb that, best ever listener, because you're okay to do that as Maurice did for a while, but just go into it with eyes wide open. Okay, I'm going to build someone else's dream for a minute so I can make some money, so I can then, hustle and then eventually build my dream. Right.
Yeah. I just want to be clear. I don't suggest ever people doing the kind of journey that I did. It is non-standard. In a lot of ways, it's nonsensical. Mm-hmm. And then the original 30 units or 30 condos or the 18 paid off, to be blunt, from a financial freedom and life perspective, was more than enough. I still live off that income, by the way, today. The 2,000 units after, it's unnecessary unless it's your passion. It is so unnecessary to live the style of life that you want. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's such a blessing that you had that backstop of cash flow coming in, man.
Yeah. But one more thing, Matt. I had the backstop. I never upgraded. You know how many people told me to sell that small portfolio? Listen, take the 5 million from the 18 places, go buy yourself a 40 unit build. And I said, no, why would I sell freedom? There's 18 grand coming in a month. Why would I sell 13 grand? Why would I sell freedom?
Yeah.
People would sell it just to get some other level of distinction.
Yeah. 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 No, I get you, man. Well, this is interesting. It makes you want to go back and find the woman that gave you that advice and give her a big fat hug. I know it's a shame.
I do it all the time, cosmically.
Yeah. Well, just send her positive energy, right? But yeah, going back to the scaling thing and the psychology, thank you for giving a little bit of mindset to the best ever listeners. We're going to transition now over to talking about doing work overseas, because some kind of crazy pill got into your Kool-Aid there, Maurice, to tell you about hey, a lot of people want to do that, but not a lot of people do that, right? Yeah. Before we get into that, best ever listeners, we're going to take one quick commercial break from our sponsors, and we'll get back into investing overseas. Why did we do it, and how did you do it? Let's take a break for commercial breaks right now. All right, guys, we're back. Now we're going to break things down with Maurice. Let's do a quick status check. You've syndicated deals with operation partners. Some folks came to you, got to you, raise capital. You probably, as a smart business person, probably said no more than you said yes to opportunities that came up for you to raise capital for. Yeah. You had your core group of people that you were raising for and bringing in dollars for and all that. Where are we at the point that you decided you wanted to jump overseas? Meaning, what was your U.S. portfolio like when you decided to take that crazy pill of looking looking outside the U.S.?
This is 2019, 2020. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. And my portfolio was the strongest it had ever been. Some mobile home parks, 30 apartment complexes, maybe 20 single family, a restaurant, a club. And I was just
in a nightclub?
Yeah. It's a long story.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
I was just starting to recognize it was time for me to deleverage from W2 land.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what happened. Again, was it a money thing? No. This is all life. So my buddy is actually here in my house today. My buddy Maher, he owns a winery called Set Winery in Lebanon. Okay. He's visiting. All right.
Lebanon. Okay. Yeah. All right. Was Lebanese wine any good?
It's
Don't
effing fantastic.
Is it really?
It's
You're not
effing
just saying that because he's in your house, right?
No, I would never. It's not even an endorsing. I'm just telling you, it's good. I don't. If people drink it, they drink it. If they don't, that's their business. You know.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
I found there's a lot of good wine in other places besides.
Yes, there's great
France
Croatian
and Italy,
wine, Lebanese wine. Of course, French wine is good. I love New Zealand wine. Wine from Georgia, the country of Georgia. There's wine everywhere. But the reason,
not Georgia, Atlanta, right?
not Atlanta. No, we're not drinking sugar water.
Yeah. Oh God. Anyway, all right. So your buddy from Lebanon.
So he's visiting.
Okay.
I went to Lebanon for the first time in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was there, well, let me take one step back. I have always, when I was a federal agent in the military, I ran a field office in Izmir, Turkey. In 2015-16. It's on the west coast of Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
You go a little bit south, you're in Bodrum and Marmaris, so you're on the Mediterranean. And back then, I had a vision, and I believe God is our wonderful human imagination. I said, I don't know how, when, where, but one day I'm going to live on the Mediterranean because I feel good here. I told you, everything for me is about how I feel on a day-to-day basis. Fast forward to 2020, a friend that I graduated college with told me her friend's husband was a Cypriot guy. I was like, Cypriot, what is that? It's from the island of Cyprus. And I did some research and I found out he was a real estate developer on the island. Now, COVID had started.
Mm-hmm.
So I got him on Zoom. And as soon as the airports opened, within 3 days, I was on his couch in Cyprus. And I said to him, after many conversations, I was like, listen, man, I want to be a partner with you, not because I can't do real estate on my own, but because I want to live in the Mediterranean. But I don't want to be the American guy who just pops over and sits in a restaurant every day and just eats food. I want to be part of the community. I want to have meaning. I want to know people. And one of the best ways to do it is to get involved in business and do something good. So my third real estate life was getting involved in 3 developments on the island of Cyprus. And it had zero, I made a lot of money from it, but it had zero to do with expansion of business. It had to do with expansion of life. Now that led me 30 minutes away is Lebanon. That led me to Beirut, where I made all these friends that I just cannot live without anymore. And I did exactly what my imagination said, which was create a lifestyle between the U.S. East Coast and the Eastern Mediterranean. And real estate was one of the ways that I made it all happen.
I'm going to ask some dumbass,
hit me, nothing's
delinquent, or not delinquent, I'm sorry, just naive American question.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it safe over there?
In Beirut?
Yeah.
You have to navigate, well, Lebanon is a wonderfully complex country that you need to understand. It is very safe, but obviously there's some turmoil there that happens from time to time. But I want to ask you a question. Is Chicago safe?
Right.
Is inner city Boston safe?
I
live in DC now. I was born in New York, raised in Boston, live in DC. So I've done all the inner city shit, including being a midnight police officer.
Yeah. I grew up in Baltimore. And people hear that. So with all the riots in Baltimore and shit like that hit a couple of years ago. People are like,
when people ask me, I'm like, is Chicago safe? Like it's such a perspective. Stop watching fucking CNN, get on a plane, go visit people, go understand how people are living. And then you can find lifestyle you don't need a vacation from the way that I did. You don't have to go to Lebanon, go to Croatia, go to Southern Alabama, go wherever you want, but go experience it yourself. And that's what I did.
And I was teeing you up because I knew that was what you were going to say, is the American media has tainted all Americans' perception of all places, and the American media wants you to believe that the only safe place for you to be is America. You can't go anywhere else. It's not safe over there, right? Okay, thank you. Yeah. I knew that's what you were going to say. But I'm glad you did, because I think a lot of more folks should hear that. Listen, it's okay to do business and to do things elsewhere. Now, I'll ask a slightly more sophisticated question. What are the differences in doing business in Cyprus and Lebanon and whatnot? And you by this point you had done a lot of business in America, and I've discovered I've traveled nowhere near as much as you have, but a little bit, and I've discovered the nuances in overseas business. And I'm not talking about, taxes and that kind of stuff. I'm talking
Yeah.
about like pulling permits, land ownership, getting people to do things like contractor integrity, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What was all that like doing development and work in other
Yeah.
countries?
I told you I'm very good at just doing and course correcting along the way. I've always been that way. I don't double think. I don't have analysis paralysis. I just jump and get the F going. It's been my way of life. But I have in my coaching and in my life, I have a principle that I follow. Stop worrying about the what and find a who. I didn't need to understand every single law in Cyprus because my business partner did.
There you go.
So then I hired my own attorney in Cyprus. Not only did I hire her, we became very close friends. And she asked me why I would do business there. And then she understands what I think you now understand is this guy is not here to make money. He's here. He's trying to live life. He's trying to be part of a community. He's trying to integrate himself. He's trying to give his Haitian family legacy in a place that would never happen. So that lawyer treats me like a brother. She's always looking out for me. Okay. So if I have this business partner in Cyprus and I have this caliber of lawyer in Cyprus, I don't have major issues. I just have to ask questions. Yeah. But what we are taught to do, thank you, formal education, for always saying there's only one answer. What we are taught to do is solve it ourselves.
Yeah. You can't cheat off your neighbor's test, man. You can't ask other people for help. You got to do all the things yourself, man. That's it.
That's not life. The way life works. And to my point of my buddy being here from Lebanon today, it's like, he's in DC and business stuff. He doesn't know everything here. Fine. He found a who. I know everything here. So he can ask questions of me or his other friends. But that's my point. What is it like to do business in another country? Doesn't matter. Your job is not to figure out the business. Your job is to find a who understands the business.
That's it. I love that. That. So you've done that. Tell me a little bit more of the project. Like, give us the eye candy, the stuff in Cyprus that you did. Was it like developing out for sale? Was it,
it's really two, it's two projects really. The third is kind of defunct. So I'll go on the two. The first one is on a mountainside in the northern part of the island, infinity view to the Mediterranean, blue as can be. 12 villas. It was 16, but we got bumped down to 12 by the government for nature, and that's fine for conservation reasons. I kept one for my own family, and we sold the other 11. So that's the first one. The second one was land that's like 10 acres. My partner's building. We were building X number of effectively condos, kind of like a resort and stuff like that. And then now that I'm in kind of this deleveraging phase, it just took so long that I'm being bought out, and I'm okay with that because I want to pull all my energy back from across the world and all these different projects. I want to consolidate everything back home. Not home like US, home like in my body. Like I don't want my energy to be stretched all over the place. We bought that land for like 300 grand. And then got an offer for the land without even building a couple years later for 1.2. Now, there is no way I could have ever gotten that land on my own, ever. Because it was done through relationships that I didn't have, but my partner did.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's that kind of stuff. And then now in Lebanon itself, I'm looking for agricultural land, and that has more to do with family and legacy than it does, again, with money and stuff like that. So
okay. What other now? Any other lessons learned that you have? Did you have anything not work out doing stuff overseas, and what did you learn from that?
Nothing ever works out the way you plan.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. What does workout mean? You know,
just like in syndication, like we know what today's times is doing to syndication. It's very challenging. It costs 30 to 40% more to run a complex, and if you have the same revenue from last year, you're struggling, right?
Yeah,
it's very difficult with inflation. In Cyprus, for example, remember the earthquake in Turkey, like 4 years ago? It was a vicious earthquake. A lot of the workforce was coming over from mainland Turkey into Cyprus to help develop. So now nobody's coming. We couldn't build. We couldn't get materials to the island. We couldn't do anything. Now, how do you forecast out There's going to be an earthquake 3 years from now that's going to dramatically kill the supply line that's going to cost you money. You don't. But here's the difference. I never went in with the premise. I want to make money, don't get me wrong, but I never went in with the premise that this is my entire life. I went in with the premise I wanted the experience and money was going to be a byproduct of it. And I've done okay as a result of my thinking. I tell my mentees and my partners all the time, when you start chasing money, it runs.
Yeah.
You make mistakes. Right?
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, brother.
So let's transitioning now. You've told me that you're kind of unwinding and bringing a lot of it back home. What was your aha moment that made you shut a lot of these overseas actions that you've done down, a lot of stuff in the US, you're closing and everything like that, or just, winding up, right? What inspired you to do all that? And I mean, because right now, believe me, winding up right now is not a fun or easy thing to do, given where the market's at,
It's very difficult.
Yeah. So what inspired you to do it, and and how's it going in today's marketplace?
I hope you pick up from me, and I hope your listeners pick up from me, that I could give a shit about other people's versions of success. I don't care.
That's right.
I have never cared. Of course I could continue down the track and syndicate more and do more and more. Wherever my net worth is now and my cash flow now, doubling it is not going to make me doubly happy. The only thing that will make me happy is my inner peace. And part of inner peace is not allowing someone else's energy to dictate your day. For example, someone is waking up right now somewhere, and the first thing they're doing is picking up their phone, looking at email, and now they feel a sense of urgency, so they pop out of bed and they make 38 phone calls as a result. If I'm tied to umpteenth different things, I'm never going to have personal peace. So my version of success is enough cash flow to take care of myself and my family, plus live as well as I possibly can. Friendship and family circles that are very meaningful for me. Ability to give back to community in some kind of way, and using money as a tool. So if I have enough money to affect those things, why would I chase more? And brother, I just turned 50. I'm relatively young. I got this sweatshirt on because I just came back from the gym. I'm lifting as much weight as I was when I was 35 years old. My time is valuable. My life is valuable. And I'm not waiting until 75 years old to go start shit.
It's funny, man. I just turned 52. I turned 50 in October.
Right on. We right with each other.
Yeah. When's your birthday? October what?
August 3rd. Mine's August 3rd.
Okay, well, I'm October 4th.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions I started asking myself going into 50. Like at 48, I started to think a lot about what life's all about. It's a turn and a half a century. Best ever listeners is one of those things. And I'm not, listen, there are cycles of life, and I don't want to bore the best ever listeners. You and I can talk offline over a glass of Lebanese wine, about this for another day, right? But there's a lot of questions one starts to ask about what's it all about, right? You said something brilliant that was like double the net worth, double the cash flow is not going to make you double happy, right? There is and I've seen like a happiness index with regards to dollars, and it's not very high. It's not billions, it does not have to be like that. So best ever listener, really, it's a good point that I want to hear from Maurice about asking yourself, why are you doing all this?
Yes. And I, as a syndicator, I do talk to my investors because, investors came into deals with me 3, 4, 5 years ago, and I promised them that I was going to stick through and get all these deals to the finish line, and I am. And not all of them are going to be happy because I can't fight every single market condition. It is insane out there right now. But the point of real estate, in addition to personal growth, which is why I love real estate, the point of real estate is to power your life. But if you're living the life that you want, and I don't mean money. Remember, everything goes back to how I feel on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
If you're living the life that you want, then why, for example, parallel to corporate, why are you going to go be a partner now if as a senior manager, you have everything that you already need? Why? Because formal education said you got to be the A student who goes to Harvard. And if you go to anything less than Harvard, like the community college, you ain't shit.
Yeah.
So people start doing that in their entrepreneurial lives too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I learned very well to not follow the track. So that's why I've deleveraged everything. And frankly, life and emotional simplicity which is my life operating model now, make me so happy. There's nothing on my calendar. Nobody's bothering me. I'm in control of everything. I'm not chasing excess. I still drive my '05 Infinity because it feels great. I finally bought a new car, but it was for my son. And when I drive it, I hate it. So I went back to my '05 Infinity.
Yeah.
You have to determine what it is that makes you feel best and then do things like syndication or real estate or nothing. Just become a fucking baker and make some muffins. And if you can support your family, then do that. But don't chase this stuff because everybody else is chasing it.
Yeah, be like the guy I met on the side of the El Camino. That got a quick note. I tried to buy a case. I tried to buy a case of wine off that guy on the side of the El Camino that was selling glasses of wine for €1 and bottles for €6. Right?
Oh.
And I'm like, I want you to ship me a case of this back to America.
Oh.
And you know what he said?
Yeah,
it's too much trouble. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I like him.
I'm like, I'll give you $300, whatever it is, doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
To me, having wine from Spain off the side, out in the middle of nowhere on the side of El Camino was epic to me, right? But to him, I don't want
that was his
trouble.
personal piece, brother. You
That's
were
what it
asking
was.
him to expend
He knew,
energy he didn't want to.
Yeah, he knew that me giving him that much money would violate his personal peace, is a good way to say it. You know, he just shrugged, he said, I don't need the money, it's too much trouble. You know?
Yeah.
It's okay. Right? And he could have done it. I looked into it. He could have done it, right? But he would have had to do the customs thing. He would have had to drive the case of wine down to the next town over and go talk to Joey Boombatz down there to make it work or whatever.
Yeah.
It could have been done, but he was not about chasing the dollar. It would have taken him away from his family and his time, and he's just sipping here, and he's selling me wine while he's also sipping a glass of wine on the side of the road. Yeah. You know, he's living his best life. He's got, and I looked at the view he had. He had like this whole vineyard in front of him and the mountains and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I walked away with my wife and I was like, you know what? I get it. Like,
he's rich.
He's
wealthy.
Right. He's wealthy. He might not have millions or even thousands in his bank account, but he didn't want it to take, like, he's like, I got, you know, he just shrugged. He's like, it's too much trouble. Like,
he's got everything he needs.
God bless
I
him.
respect him. And there's
a big
so many
life
people
moment
like
for me.
that, Matt. But social media, traditional media will never put those people on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Never.
No, because we're all supposed to be billionaires, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We all need the Ferrari, fucking Ferrari guy, right? We all need Ferraris, right?
Yeah, man.
Quick side note, what's next for Maurice? You're descaling, you're bringing it all back home. Love it. Probably more time with the boys, all that stuff. What's next? Where do you see Maurice in the next 5 years or even 10 years? When you and I are talking, when you are both turning 60, where are you at when you and I are both turning 60? What's life look like then?
Well, I'm moving my parents closer to me. I want to spend the next chapters of their life together. I don't want to be apart anymore.
Okay.
I still float between East Coast Maryland, which is where I am today, which is where I think both of my boys will be based. I float between here and Lebanon, which makes me very happy. I have built more family. I do boutique business by design, meaning few emails, a couple calls here and there. Because I want my mind to grow, right?
Yeah.
I continue to do a lot of inner work and understanding who we are. We are all spiritual beings having a human existence. Thank you, Wayne Dyer. So I do an enormous amount of inner work. And this is the biggest part. I mental diet everything. I don't watch the news. I left all of social media, even though I had 100,000 followers. I don't. So when I'm in the airport, which is every single week, I fly to Lebanon and back to the US the next week. If people are having conversations about Ferraris and shit like that, I excuse myself. I don't want anybody's information in my head. And what that has done for me, this goes back to how you feel. The only thing that's in my mind now and at 60 are the thoughts, the emotions, the relationships, the business circles, nature, that make me feel like $1,000 and have gratitude for the 1 in 400 trillion chance that allowed me to be alive. All this other shit that is on TV, like get this, buy this thing, you'll feel like $1 million for a day.
Yeah.
You have to find it from within, man. So you'll probably see me in some capacity.
And that thing could be a can of Pepsi. Like, just buy this can of Pepsi. Buy this bag of Doritos. You're fucking good. Buy that
into you. It's other people. It's other people implanting thoughts in your head, and those eventually get down into your subconscious, which inform your routines. And now you have a routine where you go to the store every morning and buy a goddamn Pepsi.
Because the marketing media told me I'll be happy if I drink it, though. Yeah. I'll be happy.
Man, I just want to be happy, and I've found my own rhythm of happiness, and I'll stick with it.
Love that. So you're going to continue to grow, continue to be happy, continue to be with family. That's those are good standards, good things to live into, right? There's an underlying theme here that as we continue to, as we wind it down, I want to throw one more out. And this is something I deal with as well. Two 50-year-olds sitting here talking. But a lot of the best ever listeners are parents, right? And some have manifested some success as you have, right? Do you believe that a lot of your mindset, ideas, life outlook, and success are based on the air quote school of hard knocks, son of immigrants and, police officer, that kind of thing, that you went through all that. You went through the journey, right? And that made you the man that you are, and also perhaps created the wealth that you have today, right? Do you believe that your two sons need to have that difficult life? Is difficulty and our challenges necessary to create success? And here's the underlying question beyond all these things, and you can take this wherever you want to take it. Should we, as successful business owners, create a transition plan to give large chunks of cash to our children,
our offspring,
so that they can live an easier life? Or should we create maybe some safety nets to the point where they can't live on the street? They're not going to live on the street, right? But should we, not give them so much to the point where they can't have a life of difficulty like you and I did, and that's it. Do you believe in like handing it all down to them so they can have an easier life than you and I did? Or do you think that they need a difficult life? What do you think?
Listen, man, this goes back to inner work. And I never really believed in spiritual journeys. And I'm not religious, but I am a fundamental believer of source and God. And I wasn't, even though my father is a very religious man. We were never intended to struggle the way that we do. Never.
Okay.
We were intended to find what makes us happy and align with it and keep going. When I said, and I hope people hear this, when I said, corporate for 25, military 22, police 15, real estate, whatever the hell it's been, 3 decades. I don't want anyone to do that unless they are fully aligned with that kind of thing. It's unnecessary. It's absolutely unnecessary. But somewhere along the line, and I do go back to, kids were pure source energy when they came out of mom and dad. And then we started implanting shit in them through school, through them watching TV commercials, through the uncle who says some crazy shit or whatever. And then all of a sudden they feel like, I have to go hustle to make things happen. I have to grind forever and ever and ever. No, you don't. No, you don't. You find what it is that you want to do in life. You go through the ups and downs because we need to experience what we don't want to understand what we do want. And then when you find something that feels good, you stick with it. Now, the one thing I didn't say in all that journey was I did corporate for 25 years because I enjoyed it. I was a street cop at night at the same time for 15 years because I enjoyed it. I did real estate, not for the money, but because I was trying to get freedom and I was going to enjoy that. But it's unnecessary to struggle. All my struggles were because I started to see other people doing other things. And I would be like, well, I guess I got to get the penthouse in DC. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You could have stopped at 8 condos, paid them off, and been chilling. So my answer is no. And then the other thing relative to kids.
You don't think that it's necessary for them to struggle. I get that.
I think it's necessary for them to have contrast, to experience things.
Yes.
We cannot be happy every day. If we were happy every day, we eventually that happiness becomes a status quo thing.
I think it's important in some ways. I think it's important in some ways to do things that don't make you happy so that you can truly enjoy things that do,
Whether it's doing things that don't make you happy or just experiencing them, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So you got right. So that's what you mean by contrast, right?
Yeah,
it's like, oh shit, this sucks. I don't like this. Because then you've got that contrast so you really enjoy happiness, Yeah.
Yeah. And I want my kids to experience contrast. They are. No, I'm not bequeathing everything to my kids. What I am doing, just like my son did this morning. He's 12 years old. He came down. I have a morning routine, spiritual routine, where I journal, I read things, and he said, I ask him to ask me 2 questions a day and then tell me one thing that's going to make him happy. His 2 questions today were, 1, Dad, why did you buy this house? I told him because I wanted something better for our family and I didn't want to move far away from your mom. We're an integrated family. So that was helpful. And then 2, he asked me, why do you speak to God every morning? Because I'm trying to get back to when I was a kid where I would just dream about stuff and just do it.
So you make your son ask you 2 questions every day.
Yeah.
Love
and
that.
then tell me one thing that will make him happy today. And he said, we got to throw the football before I go to my swim trip this weekend. I'm guiding my son. We go to the bank every Friday. We deposit money in the bank. And every time we get to $100, he buys stock. Not in what I say, but in things that he's seen around the world. So he knows that Dad flies United Airlines every week. So he bought United Airlines. He likes Nike sneakers. So he bought Nike. I'm teaching him. I'm not just giving him.
Love that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot better gift than giving him the bequeath, like the inheritance or that kind of thing, right?
No,
like
the
that's the
skill
real
set that I want the
inheritance.
boys to have is self-education and following their own version of success. I'm a believer in formal education to an extent, but self-education is everything. I don't think my boys have to go to college, but if they want, well, my first one did. If my junior doesn't want to go, I'm cool. As long as you are self-educating and you are generating streams of income and having life experiences, that is all I expect you to do in this world. I expect you to be happy, be a good man, and self-educate. Not a amazing person like Barack Obama or Martin Luther the King, or no, just be happy, be a good man, educate yourself. Yeah.
Love that. Let's bring that home, man. All right, Maurice, this has been a phenomenal conversation.
Thanks, brother.
How do people that want to hear more about what you're up to, or just whatever that may be, if they want to connect with you, how do they do that?
So my moniker is Try Life On, TRYLIFE on, Try Life On. There's a podcast, Try Life On. There's also the trylifeon.com website. I publish blogs every 2 weeks. I was coaching people for a very long time, probably 300 people one-on-one on lifestyle design, inner journey, and kind of metaphysics in a way, but essentially how to manifest your life using all the tools and try and achieve those 5 freedoms that I talked about. So they can check it out at trylifeon.com. It's just Maurice at trylifeon.com. And yeah, I just like
trylifeon.com. Best ever listeners, go check Maurice Philogene out at that website. Maurice, it's been phenomenal talking to you today. I really enjoyed your transparency and the education that we got from you. Thanks for being on the Best Ever CRE show.
Yeah, man. God bless.
Guys, that was a great episode with Maurice Philogene. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. As you guys can tell, I love going mindset stuff, and we could have talked for probably another hour. When he mentioned Wayne Dyer, I said, oh boy, here we go. You're talking about Wayne now. So we probably could have gone down another deep rabbit hole into mindset stuff and everything like that. But I appreciate you guys sticking around. And I hope you guys got a lot of that episode, because really it made a lot of us ask questions about why we do what we do as real estate investors. What is our why? What is your why? What's my why? Like I said, you turn 50, you start asking yourself a lot of those why questions in life, right? So what's your why? Why are you doing this? Maybe connect with your spouse or connect with some friends about why you are doing this. And I think this is, I always say share this episode because I want you guys to share this episode, but specifically share this episode with someone who is maybe not even a real estate investor, but really there's a lot of why, a lot of mindset stuff about just living life in this episode. So please do me a favor and share this one. Spread the word about the good word that's happening here on the Best Ever CRE show with others in your network. And I hope you guys can do that for us. If you guys like this show, please subscribe to this program on your favorite podcast streaming app. And if you have the means to, please like this show and leave a great comment about how great this program is. And I will see you guys on the next episode here of Best Ever CRE, and my segment's called Next Levels. Come see me every Friday here. Until I see you guys, maybe a Best Ever Con. Have yourself a best ever day.
Hey guys, this is Maurice, host of the Try Life On podcast, and thank you for listening to another episode. I hope you are finding it useful and helping you design your own lifestyle that you don't need a vacation from. If that's the case, please consider dropping a review for me, whether in Apple, iTunes, or in Spotify. Drop a review, put some stars on it. Give me some feedback on how I can make the podcast better, what information you are looking for. I am doing my best to get information to you on the Try Life On principles, the 5 freedoms, how to build lifestyle, travel hacking, all of it. And I want to do it for you. So please do a review for me. And until next time, my name is Maurice Philogene, and this is the Try Life On podcast. Peace.